The restaurant lights gleamed off polished marble floors. Napkins folded like miniature crowns, and laughter, wealthy, shallow laughter, spilled from a corner booth where three sharply dressed men leaned back like kings. Rafe adjusted his cheap, too tight collar and tried to ignore the ache in his feet. It was hour 9 of a double shift, and his stomach gnawed for food he couldn't afford. Tips had been garbage all day. Still, he forced on that customer service smile, the one that made people think he didn't care that they snapped fingers at him or talked like he was invisible. He did care. He just couldn't afford to show it. Until she walked in. She looked out of place. Not because she wasn't dressed right. Her clothes were simple but clean, but because her eyes had that wounded look, the kind that tried to shrink into corners and avoid attention. Rafe noticed her hesitating at the hostess stand. She had no reservation, no date, just her and a little leather notebook clutched in both hands like a shield. A writer, maybe, or someone hoping to be one. "Walk in," asked the hostess with a condescending curl of her lip. "We're fully booked unless you're someone important." The girl fumbled with her words, cheeks flushing. Rafe watched from the corner. She looked around, panicked, then quietly asked, "Can I just sit by the window? I won't stay long. I just want it right. I won't be a bother." The hostess didn't bother replying, just smirked and walked off. Rafe did something stupid. He stepped out from behind the bar, nodded toward the girl, and said, "You can take table 12. I'll cover her tab if there's a problem." The hostess looked at him like he'd grown 2 heads. "You're kidding, right? She doesn't even look like she can afford a coffee." "I wasn't asking," Rafe said tightly. The girl blinked at him, stunned. "You don't have to." "I want to," he said. "Let me." She smiled then, one of those sad, grateful smiles that knocked the wind out of him, like someone hadn't been kind to her in a long time. And just like that, table 12 became hers. For 10 minutes, everything was fine. She wrote in her notebook, ordered just a glass of water, and didn't bother anyone. Then the booth of wolves noticed her. It was the one guy, slick hair, Rolex flashing, ego spilling out of every word, who strutted up to her table like he owned the air she breathed. The others watched, snickering behind drinks. "Hey," he said, leaning down so close Rafe saw her stiffen. "Didn't know this place did charity work now." She tried to shrink. "Please, I just want to be left alone." He snatched the notebook off the table and flipped it open. "What you writing?" "Sad girl poetry." "Let me guess. No one loves me. I'm all alone. Woe is me." "Give that back," she said, reaching for it. He yanked it away with a laugh and said, "Relax, Cinderella. If you want a prince to come save you, you're looking in the wrong kingdom." Rafe's blood boiled. He slammed down the tray he was carrying so hard the glasses rattled, marched over, took the notebook from the guy's hand and handed it back to the girl, then turned slowly toward the man and said, loud and clear, "Don't touch her again." Silence swept the restaurant. The man scoffed. "You serious right now, busboy?" "Dead serious." The guy chuckled darkly, stepping closer. "You think I won't get you fired? Do you know who my father is?" "I don't care," Rafe said. "But if you lay another hand on her, you'll find out what happens when broke men have nothing left to lose." Gasps. Phone's recording. The manager rushed over seconds later, face white, hands flailing. "Rafe, what the hell are you doing?" Rafe didn't blink. "Protecting a customer. That's still in the job description." "You're done here. Go pack up your stuff. Now." The girl stood abruptly. "Wait, he shouldn't be punished for this." But Rafe raised a hand and smiled, bitter and calm. "It's okay. I was already on my last thread. I'd rather get fired for doing the right thing than keep working for people who don't know what that means." He walked out to stunned silence. She followed. Outside, in the bitter night air, Rafe stood beside the alley, kicking a cracked tile loose from the sidewalk. He didn't even notice the girl approach until she spoke. "I'm sorry." He looked up. "You don't owe me an apology." "No," she said, "but I owe you thanks." She hesitated, then pulled a wrinkled $20 bill from her pocket and tried to offer it. He shook his head. "Keep it. You don't owe me that either." Tears rimmed her eyes. Most people wouldn't have stood up. He looked at her for a long moment. "That's the problem, isn't it?" She gave him her name, Emery. Told him she was a college dropout, working on a manuscript she'd never show anyone. Said she just wanted to sit somewhere warm and pretend she mattered. "You do," Rafe said, "even if no one in there treated you like it." Then she asked, shyly, "What's your name?" "Rafe." She smiled. Then I hope I see you again, Rafe. He didn't. Not that night. But the next morning? The next morning changed everything. Rafe didn't sleep that night. Not because he was worried about getting fired. He'd been circling the drain at that job for months. What gnawed at him was the girl. Emery. The look in her eyes when that jerk grabbed her notebook. The crack in her voice when she tried to disappear. He'd seen it before. In his sister, before she vanished. In his mother, before the hospital. Kindness felt rare in his world. But seeing someone else need it made him remember who he still was beneath all the scars. That maybe, just maybe, not having money didn't mean he was worthless. Still, when the sun came up, reality hit like a brick wall. No job. No savings. Rent due in 4 days. Rafe threw on his worn hoodie, slipped into his busted sneakers, and stepped into the morning with one goal. Find work. Any kind. Dishwasher. Line cook. Someone's punching bag. Didn't matter. But as he turned the corner by the bus stop, a sleek black SUV, tinted windows, quiet engine, cleaner than anything that ever drove through this part of the city, rolled to a slow stop beside him. He glanced at it, wary. The passenger window slid down with a soft whir. It was her, Emery. Only, not how he remembered. She wore a tailored navy coat, hair done neatly, and sunglasses perched on her head. The girl who once looked like she was trying to disappear now looked like she walked out of a lifestyle magazine. Rafe, she said, a soft, stunned smile tugging her lips. You're a hard man to find. He blinked. You? What's going on? Get in, she said, unlocking the door. Please. I owe you a conversation. Everything in his life told him to walk away. But something about the look in her eyes, gentle, focused, genuine, made him get in. The door clicked shut behind him, muffling the city noise like a secret had been sealed. They drove in silence for a while. Then she said, I lied yesterday. He glanced over, confused. I'm not a dropout. I'm not broke. I'm not even supposed to be in the city. So who are you? My name is Emery Carrington, she said quietly. My family owns Carrington Tech. You probably never heard of it, but it's the backbone of half the devices in this city. Rafe's jaw clenched. So yesterday was what? A test? No, she said immediately. God, no. It was me running away. From expectations. From board meetings. From my fiancé. You're engaged. Was, she muttered. Not anymore. I caught him cheating, with my sister. Same day, too. I left a gala, changed clothes in the back of a cab, and wandered into your restaurant because I didn't know where else to go. Rafe didn't know what to say. She looked over, suddenly vulnerable. And then you happened. You stood up for me when no one else would. When you had everything to lose. Who does that? He stared ahead. People who still remember what it feels like to be powerless. She exhaled shakily. I haven't stopped thinking about it. I couldn't sleep last night, so I had my driver find you. Why? Because I want to help you, she said. Rafe blinked. I'm serious. I know people say that and don't mean it. But I do. You gave me back a piece of myself yesterday, and you didn't even know it. He scoffed. You want to help me? How? Come with me. To where? You'll see. 10 minutes later, the SUV pulled into a private business park. Sleek glass buildings shimmered beneath the morning sun. Emery stepped out and led him inside one of them. Security nodded without question. Inside, the office was stark white, minimalist, high-tech. She guided him to a glass conference room. I bought this yesterday, she said casually. You what? I wanted something that was mine. Not my father's. Not the family's. And I wanted you to have a place in it. You don't even know me. She turned to him, deadly serious. I know enough. Silence. He sat down slowly, eyes darting to the expensive furniture, the blinking lights, the view. I've waited tables since I was 17. I never even graduated. I don't care about your past, she said. I care about who you were when it counted. He looked up, his throat dry. What do you want me to do? She smiled. I want you to be my partner. Not just in business. In building something that matters. He laughed hollow. You're insane. Maybe, she said, but I believe kindness deserves more than just a thank you. It deserves a future. Later that evening, Rafe walked back into his rundown apartment. Clutched in his hand was a folder. Inside, a contract, a co-founder offer, a non-disclosure agreement, and a company card with $5,000 already loaded. He sat on the edge of his mattress for an hour, just staring at the ceiling. The guy who once couldn't afford a pair of new shoes, might have just stepped into a different life. All because he stood up for a girl who wasn't what she seemed, but neither was he. 3 days passed. In that time, Rafe stepped into a world that used to laugh at men like him. Designer meetings, investor pitches, a private consultant hired to refine his voice. Emery had insisted he keep his identity, his story, as part of the brand they were building, a platform that highlighted overlooked workers, real-life heroes, and everyday human kindness. She didn't want him to change, and that terrified him, because for the first time in his life, someone saw him. Not the broke waiter, not the orphan, not the dropout with a broken family and a cheap apartment that smelled like mildew. Just Rafe. He wasn't used to being seen. Not like this. And he definitely wasn't used to someone believing in him like Emery did. But while Rafe stepped into the light, someone else was watching from the shadows. It started with a car. A navy blue BMW parked just across from his building. Every night, same spot. Windows tinted, engine silent, lights off. Watching. The first night, Rafe brushed it off. The second night, it made his skin crawl. The third night, someone slipped an envelope under his door. No return address. No name. Inside, a photograph of Rafe and Emery walking side by side, laughing, shoulders touching. Beneath it, in sharp black ink, "You should have stayed in your lane." Rafe brought the envelope to Emery the next morning. She went pale as she read the note. "It's him," she whispered. "Who?" "My ex," she said, voice shaking. "Tyler Renwick." Rafe blinked. "The one who cheated?" Emery nodded slowly. "You don't understand. Tyler doesn't just cheat. He erases. He destroys anyone who walks away from him. My father warned me, but I didn't believe him. Tyler's family has money, power, and he's used to getting what he wants, or ruining what he can't have. You think he sent this?" "I know he did. And he's not just watching you, Rafe. He's going to come for you." Rafe sat back, heart pounding. "Let him." "No," she said, grabbing his hand. "Promise me you won't engage. He wants you angry. He wants you reckless. Promise me, no matter what happens, you'll let me handle it." Rafe nodded, but he was lying, because some men weren't wired to walk away when someone they cared about was being hunted. And Emery? She had become the first thing he cared about in years. The next attack came a day later. Someone leaked Rafe's juvenile record. Old petty theft charges. A street fight when he was 16. The arrest that led to him being rejected from college. It was all there, posted online, tagged to the business's page, leaked to blogs, whispered in meetings. Investors pulled out. Sponsors ghosted. A journalist called Emery, asking if she knew her co-founder was a thief. Emery slammed her laptop shut and said nothing. Rafe paced her office, fists clenched. "I should have told you. I don't care about your past, Rafe," she snapped, her voice suddenly raw. "I care that you warned me, that you protected me, that you're the only damn person in my life who's never lied. But it's killing the company." "No," she said. "He is." Rafe looked at her. "Then let me fix this. You can't go after him." "I'm not going after him," Rafe said quietly. "I'm going to find out what he's hiding." Emery stared at him, eyes wide. "What do you mean?" "I mean, a man like that. He's got skeletons. And if I can drag them into the daylight, you'll become the thing you're fighting." He looked away. "Maybe, but I'd rather be that than watch him break you." That night, Rafe went looking for Tyler Renwick. He didn't have access to fancy databases or private investigators. But he had something better. The streets. Old friends from bad years. One of them worked valet at Tyler's luxury building. Another cleaned rooms at the hotel he frequented when business trips turned into rendezvous. It took 2 days, a few favors, and a little risk, but Rafe found something. A name. Allison Vega, Tyler's assistant, and his secret girlfriend while he was still engaged to Emery. And 2 months ago, she vanished. No goodbye. No trace. Not even her paycheck was picked up. Rafe's hands trembled as he stared at the security footage his contact pulled. Tyler dragging Allison into his penthouse. Hours pass. She never walks out. But no police report. No investigation. Just silence. Until now. Rafe showed the footage to Emery. She turned white. "Oh my God," she whispered. He did something to her. Her hand shook. "This is enough to bury him," Rafe said. "We take it to the police. We go public. He doesn't get to scare us anymore." But Emery was staring past him. "What?" She turned the laptop toward him. "Look, it was a still from the footage. In the mirror's reflection, barely visible, Rafe's face. He'd walked past the building that night. Just a shadow, blurry. But it was enough. If we go to the police, she said slowly, he'll frame you for whatever happened to her. And in that moment, Rafe knew what Tyler had been building all along. Not just fear, a trap. Rafe stared at the screen, heart hammering. That blurry reflection in the mirror? Tyler planned that. Every step. Emery looked sick. He's setting you up. Rafe nodded slowly. And if Allison's gone? They didn't finish that sentence. The next morning, everything exploded. News broke. Tyler Renwick files lawsuit against Rafe for stalking, blackmail, and threats of violence. He painted himself as the victim of a jealous, unstable man trying to steal his ex and his life. Pictures were everywhere. Rafe with Emery. Rafe on the street. Rafe in Tyler's building. Twisted. Framed. Carefully curated lies. Emery tried to speak publicly, but her father, terrified of scandal, shut her down. Back off, or you'll lose the company too, he warned. Rafe disappeared. 3 days later, a new video dropped. Security cam footage from a parking garage. It showed a bruised, terrified Allison Vega. She looked directly at the camera. My name is Allison. If you're seeing this, it means I'm finally safe. And Tyler Renwick is not who he pretends to be. Everything changed. The video went viral in hours. Allison detailed everything. Tyler's threats, the night he tried to silence her, how she escaped. She revealed that Rafe had protected her, not harmed her. That he was the only person who believed she mattered. Tyler, arrested, publicly, humiliatingly. Rafe returned quietly, head down, no cameras, no press. He walked into the office Emery had fought to keep afloat and found her waiting. She didn't speak, just walked over and hugged him hard. I thought I lost everything, she whispered. You didn't, he said. You rebuilt it. Her eyes brimmed. We did. Weeks later, the new company launched. On Arise, a platform that amplified the stories of quiet heroes, servers, janitors, nurses, forgotten people doing brave things. It exploded online. Rafe gave every penny from his first payout to rebuild a community center that once turned him away. No kid like me should feel like trash, he told reporters. He and Emery, they didn't rush anything. But every morning, they showed up to that office, together. No more hiding. No more shame. Just two people who chose kindness over comfort. And became unstoppable.